80% of Americans fall into the lower and middle class, and they will stay there until they learn to prioritize the 5 pillars of building wealth that have allowed millionaires and billionaires to remain in control of their money. Now, you may think it's luck or inheritance or purely just privilege, but the reality is anybody can be handed $1 million. The question is, can you keep it? Can you grow it? And can you pass it on as a legacy? The facts are most self-made millionaires today didn't come from money. They built their wealth completely from scratch. And over time, they have learned how to master and control their money, something the lower and the middle class allow to master them. So in today's video, we're going to dive into what the 5 pillars of wealth accumulation are and how you can become one of the 5.5 million Americans with liquid investable assets of over $1 million. Let's dive in. The first pillar of building wealth is compound interest. Albert Einstein deemed it the 8th wonder of the world, and he said it best. He said, "He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it." Now, let me break this down for you. Compound interest is just your initial investment plus your interest coming together to make you more money and interest over time. It's that snowball effect, it's the doubling factor, where your interest is making you more interest, which leads to exponential growth long term. Now, the key here is you want to make sure that you are earning as much compound interest as possible, because the more interest you earn, the faster your money will double. And we follow the rule of 72 to figure that out, which states you take the number 72, it's kind of like a magic number, and you divide it by any interest you are earning or paying, mind you, and that will tell you how many years it will take for you to see your money double. Now, here's the kicker. Most people don't know the difference between earning compound interest that is taxable versus tax-free. When you are earning compound interest that is taxable, that means that you are not just compounding your initial investment, you are also compounding your taxes. That leads me to the second pillar, which is tax-free growth. Now, compound interest is fantastic, but when you can get it to be tax-free, that's when the real magic starts to happen. Think about it like this. If your money is growing and compounding tax-deferred, you're really just growing and compounding your tax bill because you haven't paid taxes on that money yet. Versus when it's growing and compounding tax-free, you have all of your money working for you. And here's why that matters. It's not just about what you see, it's also about what you keep. With the government currently $36 trillion in debt and counting, do you really think taxes have a chance of going down in the future or possibly up? Either way, drop it in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. But regardless, when you start to keep more of your money, that's when real wealth building starts to happen. Which leads me to pillar number 3, which is safety. Billionaire Warren Buffett is famous for his 2 rules of investing. First, never lose money. And second, always remember rule number 1. Think about it like this. When you lose money, you lose time. You lose time your money could have been growing and compounding. Instead, you're forced to figure out how to break even. Now, while yes, scared money doesn't make money, wouldn't it just make more sense to have your money growing and compounding inside of an account where you don't ever have to worry about going backwards and your money will just grow? Now let's talk about the 4th pillar of building wealth, which is leverage. The wealthy's favorite word is leverage. Leverage is the ability to borrow somebody else's money to make more money. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Wealthy people have learned how to leverage in a way that doesn't increase their risk because they borrow at such nominal interest rates, and in return, they don't pay off their debt with their money, they pay it off with other people's money. Why do you look so confused? Banks do this to you every single day. Banks and credit unions wouldn't make any interest if they weren't borrowing your money at a nominal interest rate and in return reinvesting or reissuing that money to make more money. Think about it like this. Would you pay 4% interest to borrow $1 million to go invest that and earn 10% interest somewhere else? Absolutely. This is most commonly done in the real estate industry. But there's one very crucial point you need to understand. Most millionaires, when they buy real estate, they don't use their money for the down payment. They borrow other people's money so that their money can remain safe and liquid instead of being tied up in a hard asset that they can't access. They understand the importance of pillar number 5, which is liquidity. They keep their money accessible and protected because if they need access to cash for an opportunity, they want to be able to get access to that without a hassle. Now, this is where many people get it wrong. If you tie up all of your money in hard assets that are illiquid, like real estate and retirement accounts, you're putting your wealth at risk. You might not be able to easily sell or borrow against it, and if worse things happen, you do not have safety of principal to protect your money. So now that you understand these 5 pillars of wealth accumulation, let's see how 6 different accounts that you can build wealth in stack up against these pillars. First is high yield savings. It earns compound interest, it's safe, and it's liquid. But there's no tax-free growth and you can't leverage against it. Second is stocks and bonds, which earn compound interest and they're liquid, but they're not tax-free, they are not safe, and you cannot leverage against them. Third is 401ks and IRAs, which you do earn compound interest and you can actually borrow against them, but they're not tax-free, they're definitely not safe, and they're not liquid unless you're past the age of 59 and a half. Next, we have the Roth 401k and Roth IRA that earn compound interest tax-free, but they're not safe, you cannot leverage against them, and they're not liquid because they're retirement accounts. And fifth over here, we have real estate, which does earn compound interest tax-free up to a certain limit, and you can borrow against it. But it's not safe because the real estate market fluctuates and it's not liquid. And lastly over here, we have cash value life insurance. They earn compound interest tax-free. They are safe because you can't lose money. You can borrow against it. And if it's funded correctly, it's liquid. Now saying all of your options, drop a comment below and let me know which one you'd prefer. Building wealth like a millionaire is all about understanding how money works and taking the necessary steps to protect it. Most self-made millionaires focus on tax-free accumulation strategies that are liquid and safe. They don't invest in things that are going to give them a massive tax bill later on down the road. So if you understand these strategies and you start to implement them, you too yourself could one day become a millionaire. And if you like this video and you want to see more videos just like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell to turn on notifications because I release a new video every single week. Wouldn't want you to miss it. Love it, and I will see you back here next week on YouTube.